Video 27, looking at sequence.
First of all, sequence. When programming code executes, a sequence is the order of how the program flows. Each line of code needs to be in the right order for the program to work correctly. Each of these lines can be referred to as a statement. So a good definition of a statement is a single instruction or step within a program. We're going to have a look at an example of sequence working in a program, and then we'll have a look at a good definition. So I'm going to go to bb.net, and in here I've got a form with various buttons on there, and I've got this one called Calculate My Wages. If I double click on this, it takes me to the code for that button. I'm just going to put a breakpoint onto line 11 by clicking in the grey area on the side here. So when I run the program and double click on the button, the code is going to stop at this point, and we'll be able to follow it and see what it does. So I'm going to run the program. I'm going to click on the button, and that line turns yellow, which means it's stopped there. Before we hit F11 on the keyboard and start to work our way through the code, I've declared three variables here that's going to help me do my working out for my wages. The first one is dbl hours, and that's going to get set here by the value I'm going to put into an input box. So I'm going to press F11, and it comes up, how many hours did you work this week? 25. Okay, that. Now it's going to ask me for my rate of pay, another input box. So F11, and I get paid a hell of a lot of money, £1.50 per hour. So we OK that. Then it drops down onto a line to calculate how much that is. So it's the hours times the rate. So F11, I move on to the last line, which is actually just going to show it nicely formatted. It's £37.50, and F11, there we go, formatted nicely into pounds and pence. If things weren't in the right order here, then we wouldn't get the right data out. So if that line was above where I actually get my hours and my rate from the input boxes, then it wouldn't work it out properly. So things are going to be in the right order. So that's a good example of sequence. Definition of sequence. Sequence is a control structure where a set of instructions is each executed once. This is done in the order in which they are written.
So all of that looked at the execution of lines of code, statements. But there's a little bit more to sequence which we'll need to talk about as we talk about some key points ready for your exam. To define sequence, all instructions are executed once in the order in which they appear, and that applies really to what we've already looked at, individual lines of code. There is as well the notion that sequence can apply to sub-programs or parts of solutions. Therefore, executing one statement or sub-program after another could be another way to define sequence. A statement, by the way, which we haven't talked about massively, is a single instruction which can be executed, which is usually just one line of code, but sometimes can be several lines of code, as in an if statement, which we'll look at later on. In terms of decomposition and top-down design, sequence is of huge importance. If we took a website like Amazon, for example, somebody might browse to look at some clothes, add maybe something to their basket, then go and look at a book and add a book to their basket, and they might not check out till later on. So the sequence is very undefined, and we've got to be able to cater for that within our software builds. Sequence is going to play a much bigger part when it comes to something like a linear system, such as a payroll system, where times worked would be multiplied by pay rate, and none of that can be done until we have collected a worker's times. And once that is done, then we can do things like printing out pay slips and stuff. So things would have to happen in a certain order. Thanks for watching.